Hi guys, weekly market outlook today on the 26th of April. Just a couple of trading days until the monthly candlestick pattern is about to close, and that's giving us likely quite some important impact information in regards to what we can trade, not only for now but also in the next couple of trading days. So welcome back, and I'll tell you now what is important to focus on and what's obviously kind of important what's to take into consideration here in our weekly outlook. Let's check out what markets have done in the recent couple of trading days. First of all, there was a bit of a fallout, right? Donald Trump stating like, hey, the US government should decide upon the head of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, right? They've obviously not been best friends ever since back then. But the story is that Donald Trump then in the end kind of went backwards saying, hey, I don't want to get him ousted. No, I am just trying to find middle ground and ways moving forward. Whatever that means, generally, this helps to calm markets and the financial markets moving to the upside. Basically, again, stocks higher, crypto, woohoo, and the Aussie is up next, which we like to check out for now. CPI data from Australia, consumer prices, they are expected to rise again, right? 0.8% compared to last month offering. This could give us some important information in regards to the Australian dollar, but the yearly figure is expected to basically slightly weaken still. So that's some good terms maybe from that perspective. Looking at it from the Australian dollar's perspective, though, we can see the chart, and that's the daily chart, had moved to the upside quite tremendously, right? To the upside here, we have this strong resistance, 64.15, basically. The weekly chart shows us there is kind of quite some room towards the 50 moving average. And look at this, the 50 moving average on the daily broken, 50 MA on the weekly, still kind of quite a bit of a time there. And whoo, this is exactly what I see here and what's kind of the importance. This double bottom we see here, it could give the market upside motivation, further momentum, even beyond that falling trend line, depending on how the market momentum will move on further. But in my opinion, the market might now start to weaken slightly in favor of the US dollar, and we have other news at the end of the week coming, basically. So a slight weaker momentum and then see a rocking to the upside is what I see in this market. And why? Just simply this huge candlestick pattern of this very important support zone here is the game changer potentially in markets, and all that fueled by positive risk sentiment. So it depends a bit on how the market will digest the information here in the next trading days, and that's on Wednesday, last trading day for April. And if the upside is going to continue, well, this could help basically the Australian dollar to push higher. That's the number one information here. Then we got towards the US information from the ADP data, expected to be on the weekend of things. Donald Trump, tariffs, right? Tariffs obviously causing the corporate sector to, well, reduce spending, maybe not to offload work personnel, but to start employing less people compared to the expectation. So that's something we could see here with ADP, and that's going to be a bit of a preview, though not quite related, but the preview for Friday. Non-farm payrolls here, 129,000 newly created jobs in the US economy. That's not a lot. That's rather a bit of a lower end here in regards to the figures. And look at this. We've seen way higher numbers here. Is there going to be a positive surprise? Might be. Is there something negative on the horizon or kind of in our background? Yes, and that's the tariff story, right? So like Donald Trump says, let's go left, everyone walks left. Let's go right, everyone walks to the right. And then in the end, where's the common path? Where's the common ground, which is currently the missing situation, the missing story, and that's the confusion in financial markets. NFP-wise, we could take into consideration to look at the dollar against the Japanese yen, because that's super interesting at the moment. But look at this chart here, which I've prepared for you magically. We can observe that the strong support level here, tested, and some resistance. We could even argue maybe it's like a head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and now the market breaks lower. That would be the potential neckline. If that neckline basically breaks here, then the market is gonna be expected to fall somehow further. But that's not currently the case. Why? Simply at the moment, we observe that this market remains in a positive trend again. The support level we just mentioned had been holding the market up from falling further. On the daily chart, the market is expected to close, or has closed this past week, this current week, basically, and stop the market from falling further. So that could be something which we as traders would like to take into consideration. See, like, the market, that's a tiny arrow. But anyways, you know what I mean? We could take this into consideration to expect the market sentiment moving higher and causing a further uplift in this market motivation. Here now looks better. Pin bar candlestick support level, rocket, kind of Tesla rocket, being not Tesla, but a rocket being a kind of started and likely helping this market sentiment here to move higher. So if the data is stronger NFP data, what does it else mean? The dollar could get stronger, a boost, because the dollar has been losing momentum sharply recently, but also strong NFP data would be something for the Federal Reserve to help the market sentiment to remain in a way positive. And if the employment data is solid, if inflation data from the US falls, the Federal Reserve is expected, might be expected, and currently market participants think maybe 3 times or maybe 4 times, that's 2, but 3 or 4 times rate cuts this year. 1 or 2 times was expected. So that brings us to a total of maybe 4 rate cuts in total this year. And this would be something positive for the equity side of things. Stock markets might rise, crypto world might rise, as the 2 pillars for the economy and for equities are, first of all, the interest rate policy for and of the central bank, and secondary, obviously, kind of economic data from corporations. And we have this coming up as well. So for all of those who are focusing on that, this coming week is just a big one for economic releases, quarterly results, earnings season is coming up again. Back to the number here, PCE deflator. Will this kind of impact markets? Yes, for sure. It's going to weaken. And that would be something where also Jerome Powell at some point might not say anymore, wait, guys, now it's April, right? During one of the next upcoming meetings, he could state indeed that we need to cut rates slowly. And the time, I might say it, well, should be right. And it should kind of offer positive sentiment here in market motivation. Looking at it from the currency perspective, FX trading wise, the pound US dollar has been rising towards an important resistance zone. I don't see that this zone is going to break. And again, dollar Japanese yen maybe strengthening off the support area, maybe moving to the upside. That's positive for the dollar. Pound US dollar maybe kind of falling based on this area. We have this double top, which pendles with this candlestick pattern, the pin bar candlestick, potentially indeed helping market sentiment to weaken somehow further. And that could kind of mean that the weekly chart here is right, and that the dollar strength might help the momentum here to weaken further. So pound US, cable as the currency pair is called, expected to maybe weaken initially. The euro dollar had, and we can see this short term for our charts here, had also started to find some slight cracks. But again, weekly chart here, woohoo, it is just the same story. And now I hope the arrow is going to be a bit bigger. Yeah, that the candlestick here is the zone important, not so much on the and with the euro dollar currency pair, but technically it shows us that downside motivation might be on the cards here in this case. That has also other important market motivation for other markets, right? So, and we saw that the gold price has recently started to basically weaken as well. So this week, which is currently about to be over as well, had told us that the downside motivation in gold might start to form. We have traded and we have tested a very important technical resistance pattern. You can see it in the chart here. That's gold weekly chart. We tested the 3,500 psychological zone. Look at it here. Look at these figures down there. Really, we tested it $3,500.10, wide 3.5K. This is just such a tremendous increase in gold, and I see some reason here that a correction might be due. In particular, when looking at this from the relative strength index, we can observe that the market is kind of in overbought territory. Downside motivation might be on the cards, and this is just the big idea, the big support maybe we can see here for this market to basically start and weaken somehow further. Dollar strength, we have some reasons here in the next couple of trading days is clearly the idea here. We have still some other news in regards to what goes this week. We have the Bank of Japan's interest rate decision as usual, not with a clear timestamp, but I don't expect much here from the Japanese central bank. Dollar Japanese yen currency pair we talked about might just start to basically strengthen, and the dollar against the Japanese yen might in particular kind of be the driving force here. We can look at the euro against the Japanese yen, where the strong euro has been able to kind of pull the market higher again, or push the market higher again. We're currently about to break the 50 moving average, looking kind of super strong here that this market breaks. And I like also this monthly candlestick pattern, right? A push higher, a correction slightly lower, earlier of the month, a correction, end of the month, upside momentum may be seen. I can't help myself. Guys, leave your comments under the video if you see it similarly or totally opposite from an opposite point of view. But it looks like this market is just about to break higher and maybe also pushing back to the upside here. It looks like at least the uptrend here in the euro against the Japanese yen will continue. The metals, last but not least of the metals kind of front here is silver. Silver is lagging behind, has been ever since lagging behind this strong push in gold. But silver, guys, I can tell you, looks extremely positive. And by the way, I'm still editing the video of the one and only Jim Rogers in Singapore. When I met him up at his house, he invited me. He said, Frank, come over as usual. Let's have a coffee at my place and talk financial markets. So that's what we did. And here the upside looks really cool. 34.40 upside momentum looking feasible. This market sentiment is just about to be kind of more on higher levels, focused on another explosion, maybe higher. We quite like the silver market look at and from that perspective. Question is, tariffs, not maybe just something which is going to be ongoing forever, right? We got this 90 days basically kind of extension of or delay in the tariff story from Donald Trump. So that might come to an end despite that 90 days coming closer. But I expect that he's going to say something about it medium term. But oil prices are worth a shot as well. Oil had weakened fairly recently. Let's look at it from this trend line perspective. Here the market fell all the way and it looked like this is a vacuum. And I said it's a vacuum. If the market falls below this level, we were gold right, it might fall and escalate quickly, which was the case. But now the market looks like it's going to break even higher levels. And if the market can break this zone here, we could be on the cards again for some upside momentum in the oil market. It looks kind of rock solid. The support zone I just talked about and this rising trend line support also looks feasible here. And this zone, as I said, kind of might, and the trend might push this market higher. So if oil rises or if oil is able to rise further, this looks good. Pin bar candlestick, a nice push higher the week after. This week, this current week, not too much. But again, if the market starts to appreciate further here in that current week, upcoming week, starting on Monday, we could see that the upside momentum all the way towards maybe here, this 50 moving average could be on the cards. What's last, obviously, and I know no talk here in these couple of trading weeks is complete without mentioning what is going to happen in the crypto space. So guys, please stay tuned right now. What do we see? We see crypto-wise that Bitcoin has been rocking the show of the important support area. The support zone here, lasting 50 moving average, and kaboom, off we go. Off we go here, off we went there. And now is the question, what's the next line in descent? Psychological 100,000 US dollars is what we like to see. First of all, if beyond that, the market can escalate its move to the upside here, it looks pretty cool. I don't see any reason in particular early April down, mid towards ends of April higher. I see a ton of reason that Bitcoin is gonna continue with its push to the upside here. So we see that quite a bit of momentum in two higher levels can be found here, where Ethereum is just lagging behind slightly. Ethereum is just looking not bad, but here at this market sentiment at the moment, capped by the 50 moving average, might just not be extremely positive. We see it here. It's just a little bit of a blossom, we could say. It's a blossom of a push to the upside here in Ethereum, where else Bitcoin obviously kind of has really done its homework, moving to higher levels. So I'll leave it up to you. Leave your comments under the video what you think about this. But I like the upside. I increased my holding in Bitcoin, in SUI, in Ethereum as well. And I like that the markets are kind of moving to the upside. And please check out also the XRP chart if you're a Ripple trader, because Ripple has also started to kind of bounce off the lows. And I said, hey, Ripple is going to weaken. Now I say Ripple might actually indeed start its push to the upside as well. Why? Just simply because the candlestick pattern looking kind of quite similar. Ethereum, bull run to be expected. Bitcoin, bull run fully underway. So there's nothing where I would say markets might just weaken further. Last but not least, last but not least here, before I forget, S&P 500 has broken higher. Again, there was Trump's story here, whatever that nonsense Jerome Powell story. Unleashed market pressure. Now it's a good time to buy again, guys. But this market looks extremely positive here. The S&P, I don't see any reason why this market should not push higher. The same is true for the NASDAQ, also looking extremely good here at the moment. Maybe that was it with our crash. It was just quite a bit of a longer lasting a longer term bear market, right? So turnaround candlestick pattern. I said, guys, we're gonna go lower. No, Frank, you're always too bearish. No, I'm not freaking too bearish. We did exactly what I said. The market did up here, start to follow. Guess who sold up here? Well, anyways, and the market, we closed our shorts here at the bottom, basically right where we had the resistance. Now we had the support here, and now it's time for the market to potentially start rocking the show and moving higher. Leave your comments under the video if you have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, of course, as usual. I wish you happy trading. Further updates as usual next week, and stay tuned. See you then. Take care, everyone. Ciao.